My name is Nikolai Sidelnikov. I'm the product owner of the product SMBinvoice at Openprovider. This webinar devoted to our new application, and here we will be focused on some features and details on explaining how this product SMBinvoices can make life of our customers easier and better. First of all, I will say a few words about SMBinvoices proposal. I'll show you how to work with integrated Mailbox, explain the concept of processing of our documents together with electronic assistance. So we have two different kinds of workflows. One is workflow for companies where the same person receive and check and validate invoices, and the second is so-called validation workflow, where for companies who have a split process, when one people check invoices or digitize it, and other people make a business decision and validate it. Also, I'll show you how it works together with Twinfield application and how it can work using UBL interface with other bookkeeping software. As an example, I will use Exact, and you will see how it works. Also, I'll say a few words about such features like invoice archiving, like invoice consistency reports, payment file generations, and make some conclusions. So, the proposal. SMBinvoices is a software for assisting people in accounts payable processing. Generally say we have the following functionality. First of all, we help you to collect, digitize, and validate incoming invoices or accounts payable. We may help you to make bookkeeping records and send invoices to bookkeeping software, manage creditor data. We may provide some invoices reporting, and we help in payment file generations. So idea is that this is some workplace for a person who is responsible for accounts payable processing, and the idea is to reduce labor efforts of those people. So that's it in terms of presentations. Let's switch to demo. So this is the start page of the application. Here you can see the general information about integration with other software. First of all, this is the Mailbox, which you can give to your suppliers, where they may send invoices, and in this case, our software will process it automatically. I'll show you how it works. If you would like, here is the link where you can change it. Also, all these settings are available in main menu. In case your software is integrated with Twinfield, you can see here the details of database which this exact installation is connected with. First, let's say document processing cycle, which I'm going to demonstrate, is so-called one-step process working with for customers who work with Twinfield. So imagine we are providers, and we would like to send some invoices, and we send those invoices. You can see here I have 3 files. These are real invoices. We will send it to the Mailbox mentioned above, which is integrated with SMBinvoices software. So documents are sent. If you look inside this Mailbox, we can see that currently it's in inbox folder. Well, sorry, it's not English, but this is inbox. In theory, the application check this Mailbox every 10 minutes, but we will not wait now. We can also just click check email, so you can see what should happen, let's say without any human involvement. So imagine the robot started reading taken invoices from the mailbox. You can see that those invoices were uploaded, but they are still processing. You can see the rolling wheel. Why it happens? Well, at this moment, our electronic assistants scan the invoice and try to extract some required data from there. So let's see what they've done. Here you can see notification about information which was recognized automatically. So this is the invoice, and you can see information which was extracted from it by our electronic assistants. Document date, it's here. Document number, also some, yeah, here is it. Document amount, creditor was recognized. And thanks to integration with TwinField, as soon as, well, once again, now we are looking, we are checking the, investigating the case when system is integrated with TwinField. System also checked which exactly ledger accounts and VAT codes are usually used for TwinField. And due to this analysis, system knows that we usually book invoices from this exact creditor with one invoice line, having ledger accounts, well, this one and this VAT code. So finally, we can say that this invoice is nearly ready for exporting to bookkeeping software. Let's do that. Well, we can export it as final, or we can export it as a draft. I'll export it as a draft, just to make it more easy to find and check what we will see in bookkeeping software. So we are sending the invoice. Yeah, invoice is sent. So now this invoice is archived. Here is it. And it will be always kept here. And if we go to TwinField, we enter the same environment which is integrated. We go to provisional transactions. In CoFactur, yeah, we can see that this is the invoice from Spam Expert. So it's already here. You see, finally, you can book it right now. And, well, I will not do it now. You cannot against. And if you would like, you also can book it as final. Then no one should, if you send it to TwinField as final, you should not touch it at all after that. So everything is done, and we here in Openprovider usually do it exactly like this. But, well, the problem is that you cannot edit after it was booked as final. So it depends on your internal business processes if you would like to book it as final or as a temporary transaction. Also, I think it might be interesting for you to see what happened in the mailbox. If we update the inbox, so mail is not here, but it was not terminated. If a robot recognized all files from the mail, I mean that all files were imported, then the robot will put these documents to the Postman archive folder, or it might be any other folder. You can set up it inside the application. In case this mail, in case there were no files for import, or those files was of some unexpected formats, well, like these mails, for example, a robot will not terminate it. He will put it to process manually folder, and a robot will not mark it as red. So it means that people also may log in the mailbox and see what was not processed by robot. So it means that nothing will be lost finally. So we saw the case how system can work with TwinField. I've demonstrated how system takes email from the mailbox, how electronic assistants recognize it, and the only thing, in the most successful case, of course, electronic assistants are not absolutely perfect, but in such cases, the only thing you should do is to check if you really want to pay. Well, if you really agree with this invoice, click the button and send it to TwinField. So that's it. Now let's see how this system work using so-called validation workflow. If you go to settings, to my company settings, you can switch from, well, you can ask the system to use the so-called validation workflow. Let's click yes and save these settings. Now you may see that in documents area, a few additional menu points appeared. So let's take another document, for example, this one from the 14. Well, it also was absolutely recognized. But now we have additional fields. And well, imagine we have a company where I'm an operator and someone else should make a file validation. So in this case, I should check if all data here are consistent, and then assign it to this person for the additional check. Here we mean when we talk here about additional check or about cross check, I'm not talking about checking if all numbers are correct, but imagine that the decision maker wants only one with invoices which are already digitized. I will assign it to myself because we have user permissions, and if I will assign it to someone else, I will not be able to see it, and that's also additional feature that we can really route those queues. So I assign it to me. Sorry, I cannot show you exactly how it works. The idea is that the person whom we assigned the document can, here this person will see the, how many documents are waiting for validation, and the email will be delivered to that person that something should be validated, if there is such settings here. And then this person can look through the document, correct it if required, or don't touch it, and then export it to TwinField. So this is the concept of validation workflow. In this case, we have more steps, but more people may be involved in invoices processing. Few words about once again how you should set it up. So in my company settings, you can select the validation workflow. If you select no, then we have the easiest option. When we have only one, all documents are resolved on the one screen. You can see this document returned back. And on the same on the same page, you also may select the way of integration with bookkeeping software. So currently we use TwinField, but we also can select the UBL workflow, which now named default, but we will rename it because it's not so obvious. When it's done, what is changed in the system? Now we don't have integration with TwinField; it is switched off. But you got the opportunity to send your invoices in UBL format directly to any bookkeeping software which accepts the UBL. For example, this might be Exact. So once again, we return back to those mails which were received from the mailbox. If we go inside, you can see that now we have only one option, export as final, or we can delete or reject those emails. And the difference is that there are no invoice lines now because, information about ledger accounts is never contained in UBL files. But here we may define the desirable VAT rate for each invoice line. Amount is here. We can select the line description, and then we may say export as final. And document will be sent to the email address which you registered for your bookkeeping software. So currently, if you go to settings, it's an UBL export. This strange email address is the email address which Exact assigns for its for mailboxes in his environment. If you go to Exact, well, it usually takes some time to process the documents. Well, while we are waiting, because, well, the delay, well, the possible delay is, well, up to 2 minutes on my experience. But, well, these are previous mails which were sent from the same account by me before. So this is the, well, this is how those invoices look like when they appear in UBL format. So it is already structured. All information which was registered there is already here. So what you finally should do, well, again, you may correct it, and then you may book it. Let's make another effort. Well, to see if yeah, you can see it. Here is it. This is the new Infofactur, which we digitized before in SMBinvoices, and it's nearly ready for booking. So creditor data are taken from the creditor list, and well, nearly everything is already here. So this is the way how you can set up integration with almost any bookkeeping software which supports export of invoices in UBL format. So few additional words about other options. So of course the document processing itself is the core of this application, and we pay a lot of attention to improving of our electronic assistant, because we finally believe that one day we will be able to make people only validate well, if those invoices are really should be paid, and that they will not need to spend any time for, well, it's digitizing. But making this process better, we need some additional features. Well, first of all, we have a creditor management in the system. This is especially, I think, useful when you work with TwinField. It might be also comfortable when you work with other applications sending invoices via UBL. Creditor management assumes that you may register all creditor data inside the system, and you don't need to go to bookkeeping software in this case. And for case with TwinField, all changes here will be automatically updated. When you start working with TwinField, if you use the TwinField plugin, you have an opportunity to import all data from TwinField by one click. It means that all ledger accounts and VAT groups and creditors will be imported immediately, and then you are working in a synchronized environment. Another thing which might be useful is that having creditor data inside, you also can generate payment files. Of course, well, currently functionality is a little bit limited because, well, we are oriented for creation of prepayment files, and we have quite a lot of such cases. So if you need to pay invoice as a first postpaid invoice, then you, of course, well, should use functionality of, well, TwinField or your bookkeeping software that payment run. But if you need to create a prepayment, many bookkeeping software doesn't really allow to do this. And here you can easily make it by adding different rows, and system will decide itself if this should be, well, SEPA file, or if this should be BTL91 file, and check if all information is kept, well, if information in the system is enough for creation of those payment files. So this is also some improvement, because it makes possible to create payment files here and upload it directly to your bank software relatively easy. So again, according to our experience, well, this might help. Well, I think I've described, well, in general, I've described you the main points of SMBinvoices as a product. So let me repeat it briefly. Our software can take invoices from your mailbox, or you may upload it directly from your local machine. Our electronic assistants read your invoices and fill in information when possible. You may correct this information. You may save invoice in archive and send it to bookkeeping software, which you use. In case you use Twinfield, you can save. It's a little bit more easy to process it there, but again, it also helps for any software which use UBR interface. You also can manage here creditors, create payment files, and a few words about reporting. This is additional, it's a relatively small feature, sorry, it seems I forgot about it. But it may save quite a lot of time if you have a significant amount of accounts payable. Idea is the following. If amount of invoices amount of creditors is quite big, you need to check its consistency in some way. It means that if you know that some invoices are recurrent invoices, and this happens quite often, you need to make some additional cross checks to make sure that that invoices were not lost, because this can break your bookkeeping. Before some moments, our users made it in Excel sheets, and it took a lot of time. But now all invoices which are validated are visible here. You can see how much invoices were delivered, and if there are any gaps, you already can perform some actions to fix this problem. So I think that's it. So as a conclusion of our meeting, and I'd like to say thank you for joining this webinar, and thank you for questions you're asking, because it's always nice to see that people pay attention to your product. And I'd like to inspire you to try it, to use it, because I'm sure that it can really make your life easier. Bye. Thank you.